So this video is for DBG Book 6, Chapter 17. So as usual, go ahead and pause it and try and mark everything up, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so taking a look at this very first sentence, it's pretty short and pretty straightforward. We've got kolunt as our main verb, and deum would be a direct object, and that deum is renamed, of course, as Mercury right there. So putting it all together, that would be they, meaning the Gauls, the Gallic people, they worship the god Mercury especially. Looking at the next sentence, just from huius to simulacra is the easy part. We've got sunt as the main verb, and plurima is modifying simulacra, which is going to be our subject. I'll just put S. So of this, meaning of this god, of Mercury, there are very many images or statues. And starting from hunc and going to arbitrantur, ferunt is a main verb. And then I also see habere is an infinitive, and arbitrantur is a main verb. Now, arbitrantur means to think, and ferre can mean to report or tell or even consider. So we're going to be an indirect statement here, which is why we do have some accusative words right off the bat with hunc and ventorum. And then I see hunc going over here with ducem. Hunc doesn't seem to be going with anything, but it's probably referring to this god, meaning Mercury. In terms of prep phrases, I see ad quaestus, and then ad, I think, is understood here with mercatoras as well. Que. There we go. So that's all part of a prepositional phrase. Maximum is describing whim. And let's put it all together. Okay. So verb of the head here, they consider this one, and I think you have to add an SA to be, or they consider that this one, meaning Mercury, is the inventor, or you could say originator, the discoverer of all arts. Of course, artium really has more of a sense of skill, so like of all skills. And they say that, or they consider that this one is the ducem, is the leader of roads and of journeys. So very similar to the way that the Romans would have conceived of Mercury. And then we do have arbitrantur, and they consider, or they think, that this one, habere, has the greatest force for the acquisition of money and for commercial enterprises or for trades. And if you know anything about Mercury besides being the messenger god and god of streets and roads and whatnot and journeys, you know that he is probably, you probably also know that he is the god of merchants and also of thieves. Okay, do with that what you will. So then in this next sentence, we're missing obviously a verb, but we have names of 4 other gods. So I think it's safe to say that we could take this verb up here, kolunt, and also move it down here. So prep phrase post hunc, after this one, meaning after Mercury, they worship Apollo and Mars and Jupiter and Minerva. Moving on. From de to opinionem, let's just go there. I see a prep phrase with de his. I see a small little clause right here. And then habent is a main verb. Opinionem would be a direct object. Describing that, modifying it, would be eandem, the same. So, and reliqui goes with gentes, the remaining groups of people or tribes. So, concerning these, probably concerning the other 4 gods he just mentioned, concerning these, they have nearly, that's faire, they nearly have the same opinion which the remaining tribes, and then I think the understood verb is have. And now in the second part of the sentence, you're going to notice lots of infinitives because we are in an indirect statement. So de pellere and tradere and regere and tenere. Okay, I don't see any prep phrases, so I think we could probably put all this together. Lots of accusative words, some of which are the subjects of the infinitive, some of which are the direct objects of the infinitive. So here's the opinion that they have, that Apollo drives away illnesses, that Minerva entrusts, or you could even say teaches, the origins or basic elements of works and of trades or handicrafts, that Jupiter holds the celestial power, meaning this power of the sky, and that Mars rules over or controls wars. Now, huic is dative, right? So it's got to be 2 or 4 this one, and since Mars was the most recently mentioned one, it's got to refer to him. Other things I can mark, well, I see that there's some sort of cum clause here. Constituerunt would be the main verb of that clause. Demicare is an infinitive. I see quae to ceperent is some sort of clause as well. Main verb would be ceperent. And de vovent, main verb of the whole sentence, which means to vow, or to vow or devote. So they generally, or very often, vow to this one, meaning to Mars, the things which they have seized in war when they have decided to fight in battle. So when they have decided to fight in battle, they very often vow the things which they have seized in war to this one. And then we have another clause, cum superoerunt, when they have overpowered, meaning overpowered their enemies, i.e. when they've won, what do? They immolant and they conferunt. Whoa, that got out of hand. They sacrifice the animals having been captured, and they collect the remaining things into one place, meaning all of the spoils of war they take from their enemy and they put them into one place. Let's move on. From multis to licet. Well, first thing that jumps out at me is licet. It's an impersonal verb, and it's usually accompanied by an infinitive, and here we see one with conspicari. It's a deponent. Multis in civitatibus is a prep phrase. Harum is describing rerum. And then we have extructos tumulos. Those are accusative words. And then locis, and that's modified by consecratis. Dative or ablative plural, most likely ablative plural. So in many states, it is permitted to see or observe. Extructos means piled up. So piled up heaps or mounds of these things, meaning of the spoils of war, in consecrated places, in places having been made sacred. Moving on, we have accidit is a verb. I see some sort of clause here that starts with ut, and going to aldefret, which would be the main verb of the clause. I see an infinitive with tolere, sorry, that's terrible, tolere, and occultare. Quispiam is going to be the subject, that means anyone. In the second part of the sentence, ei and rei go together, those are dative, singular. Gravissimum goes with supplicium. Cum cruciatu is a prep phrase. Constitutum est would be a main verb. So, putting it all together, it often does not happen that, oh gosh, I forgot, an ablative absolute right here. Neglecta religione. It often does not happen that with religious ceremonies having been neglected, that anyone would dare either to hide things having been seized, apud se, literally at his own house. In other words, nobody would or on his own person. In other words, nobody would hide spoils of war on them. Like they would actually put this stuff into this big pile. So it did not often happen that with religious duties having been neglected, anybody would dare either to hide or conceal stuff having been captured on himself, or to lift it having been placed, and lift here meaning like to steal. And the most serious punishment with torture was established for this thing. In other words, for this crime. Okay, now go on to the video for 18. Thank you.